Gilg Jew, Gilg J as Gilg Nerach.
Sé Claare na Gael vis GOUILH Taach Nesh as Babalia Maltach GOUILH. My name is Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Have I heard tell of old Bobby Bob?
And it's my pleasure to present this bilingual programme because part of it is in the English language as Claare Hingachi Nodwell Pertelia Gisagilg, and it's a bilingual programme because another part of it is in the Manx Gaelic, Chinyanamera, the mother tongue of Ellen Vanning, the Isle of Man. As Amarach and dirich. David Robertson and his two companions have now returned to Douglas after having made a round tour of the island in that summer of 1791. However, he doesn't stop his observations there, and in this chapter we'll find more of what he's got to say, and for some of it will be quite familiar to you from Claare na Gael in times past. Ta enjachten Mina Harker jitwe asmacht, leis preis na cushion shot a Junawori. Ach, tan alw van Helsing fi chingel, as te goili as cori na sai eishach, as te lort read the mech, mechion and vei heen. We've heard Breton singer ANDREA before, but here she's accompanied by a young harp player. He's called COCHEVELOU, in a song about the birth of Merlin, Marzin enne gavel. Tas yw geisdiach rys radio vanning, stasiwn yn asiwn, fy sgol ar sgelia mach, fai dwlish, Ellen Vanning.
E wana din dan ar hwa de
Breton singer ANDREA GOUILH with a recording from 1959 where she was accompanied by a youthful Alain COCHEVELOU on harp, and Alain COCHEVELOU went on to become better known as Alain Stivell. Soon after our return to Douglas, I took an evening walk to the promontory south of the town. Well, there we are, he's in the vicinity of Manx Radio, in fact, up here on Douglas Head. The weather, he says, was serene and delightful. The neighbouring fields were in full blossom, the windows of St. George's Chapel flamed with the setting sun, and the ocean was tinged with his ruddy light. In the bay, vessels from many a port, with streamers waving in the wind, were waiting the completion of their cargoes, and at a distance, scattered along the horizon for many a league, were seen the white sails of 400 fisher boats, while the town beneath was a crowded scene of business, enlivened with mirth and festivity. The herrings are supposed to migrate annually from the north of Europe in one immense body, but, on arriving at the North Isles of Scotland, are broken into various huge shoals, which, after visiting several of the kingdoms of Europe, regularly return to the more northern regions. Sjaast is verdedigd bij hem, as Hollende aber, ne wel monne treier bij hem son geurtjes. Ach nierus voor hem courage arm de hit de so, Joris MACDARA John Seward, ta enner bij hem chwilien pech mai, as ta me nagen huish woeslig, de wel me gennachten, de smoon of am view, as ta jitte bij een smoog, as ta me chitte bij een shinne, verdenig me wij. Crediesh, de wel me chitte so, cor len de harmdew, as ta shua chord out tresh, gene sen ta me shirre, ach, de wel mren mai forse marn, de junu manre away. Mren mai, as ten wij as een innerige zak jinusus lesoen mai, son de pechen hig de wij on. Ta me manre te be cared out on shore we immer doil ons actu. Som bewisse dun je sheshehead surrens, te surrens chaustaije remus as studeris as a heel chonich emmus. Tammy gelden you, the ginnum lesh tatnius, ulju a honors odoms. Scottish band OSSIAN now lament the fact that they can't go poaching on other people's property for deer anymore.
Say free art of bonny Atjer bien sabel tjoga kunner Skaungen jirik mi kwe You say free art the bunny Skaungen jirik mi kwe Skaungen jirik mi kwe You say free art the bunny Skaungen jirik mi kwe
A perverse law, he calls it, to stop him poaching deer on other people's property, but he daren't risk it. That's the Scottish band OSSIAN and the song Scaun gun dirich mi choiidh. Nim ulliu de yinno a vei larger as firn, as a vei yowish fair vis manra. Nish signed you tas you talked it, as fuddy ro him nech. Chababai lesh dun ye shesha Jonathan fagan shuch O'Neill, a shen na my lesh ball te graiach, canel shen my dersen. A fair shen, asel ye, signed you as munga. Tashu an inch da will you machon Lucy, as ma saw nish jinmuds lot machon shen al de jinne burra eru. Nim tanachten ons Exeter noch, son tammy giri smunion de moor na tashu an inch dau. As trevis smunion jintem, nim corfation eru, ma vis kidem. As eishnis, nishu ginch down machon burra dunya shesha Jonathan, chaus tashu able. A chene force, signed you nish, na san me nishu inch dawulju. Lug kerbel, tre haishin rashkas a chamber high, durte rum, as nish inchji dawulju machon ega. Well, David Robertson describes the herring shoals as they arrive in Manx waters now. About the middle of summer, a few stragglers appear off this island, but the fishery seldom commences till the middle of July, and for a month or 6 weeks continues off Peel, Port Iron and Castletown. The herrings, though then in their prime, are by no means so abundant as afterwards. About the end of August they collect from every part round the island towards the north point of Douglas Bay, and here, with increasing success, the fishery continues till the middle of September, when the equinoctial gales usually intimidate the fishermen and dissipate the herrings. The boats seldom exceed 8 tons, are built with much dexterity, sail swiftly, and are easily commanded. When new, they cost, including the nets, upwards of 70 or 80 guineas, but they seldom are the sole property of the fisherman. The produce of every night is divided into 9 shares. A hymn tune from Cornwall written in 1965 by Monty Pearce of the Red Ruth Town Band, but played there by the St Stithians Silver Band. St Stithians is a village about 5 and a bit miles southeast of Redruth.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
Stasiwn yn asiwn sien de jaro radio fanning, as yn sio sé Claare na Gael dyr y clasyn. Mish Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Haven't heard tell of owl Bobby Bob.
Ta Claare na Gael reclash na seacht and look degul, jug jiggle scaliach here chod, as shantrud and chraman eragert in the degger radio vanning, as on shant imidi Claare and radio vanning earlier again. As ta Claare na Gael regetten mag podcast nis, as shan nasty in the degger radio vanning, na trud a reich here the podcast earlier Apple Podcasts, Amazon Audible, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, na Alexa. And so we find out about these 9 shares into which the produce of every night is divided. 2 belong to the owners of the boat, 1 to the proprietors of the nets, and the residue to the 6 fishermen. 2 of these are generally seamen, and the rest at the beginning of the fishery come from the interior parts of the country, to which on its close they return, supremely contented if they've procured herrings, and the women in their absence cultivated potatoes, barely adequate to the maintenance of the family till next fishery. Few of the fishermen are acquainted with the anxiety attending the possession of riches. The greater part of their gains is consumed during the fishery in feasting or ebriety, and the remainder is usually consigned to quiet some importunate creditor. Upwards of 400 boats comprise the Manx fleet, and in a footnote he says, in this number are not included the smacks, brigs, etc., belonging to the lowland. Tra henk mi the lotrish dunje wuzel my in sit shore, gauw mi toiach der vei foal, the jinnach e breunis der rauw mi ma omagen fes, as der rauw Jonathan na vran leidach, geledden chwecht en lior leishen. As ren mi leest them ach GOUILH. Ach, vei chomillish as kindle, as vei a chor gelden de groene, as van mi cor barendansen. Maar so doort mi. Dr. van Helsing, hoch chwech as shen te hem de instu, nach neiden you garach de arm, naer dun je sheshem. Nier is jay de source de chasach de ours of vei arm. Signed you ve kindle dou, gin smuljen arm de ve bolvenach, no de remmi krel hier en lie arn jay charrans de ridden viech weg. Renne chiggerige mi lesjen immerke egge, gammes les na vogelen egge, tred door de, o me wens wien. De rauwach fissio, kreeg o kweg as den goes, as me gaunek, tamion shaw, shuashe jinnach gerchti. Well, there'll be a fair tomorrow in the County Clare, so MACDARA O'Connell could sail over from his native Inisheer on the Arran Isles to Doolin, County Clare.
Beidh chamarach a gún da chláir, beidh chamarach a gún da chláir, chamarach a gún da chláir, ce bhacham mai ní bhaim meán. Bháirína licketúna nainama, a bháirína licketúna nainama, a bháirína licketúna nainama, a bhúr ní nó na hédí níl tú gen an hí cos, níl tú gen an hí cos, níl tú gen an hí cos, na de bheis tú trí ja beit tú mó. Bháirína licketúna nainama, a bháirína licketúna nainama, a bháirína licketúna nainama, a bhúr ní nó na hédí Burnham hain my gracie broke, Burnham hain my gracie broke, Burnham hain my gracie broke, na heffe ge charm na the Lorsi yor. Bháirína licketúna nainama, a bháirína licketúna nainama, bháirína licketúna nainama, a bhúr ní nó na hédí chamarach a gún da chláir, beidh chamarach a gún da chláir, beidh chamarach a gún da chláir, ce bhacham mai ní bhaim meán. Bháirína licketúna nainama, a bháirína licketúna nainama, a bháirína licketúna nainama, a bhúr ní nó na hédí beidh chamarach a gún da chláir, beidh chamarach a gún da chláir, beidh chamarach a gún da chláir, ce bhacham mai ní bhaim
And that was MACDARA o Cwnile. You may remember some years ago that his sister, Lasserina ni Cwnile, came here for the Cwch Festival, and MACDARA sang on her album, and there she returned the compliment singing on her brother's album. Tammy yn ninsach gyn gynw begje credu ag pecher bi, crea bi chochwech wishen. Tammy a chore be frail foslit ma agnia. Ach sy'n ein yn cajin sa fe odus dune. Ach na ridden kwech, na ridden erskin caginus, na ridden de cor slide du jail, vel ad asnen giel na sunt. Gurra maio, mille geert, tashu een oil vom imne. Ma vishu korkit down jem cord you paber dal jai. Sliaur ach, tammy skew mach leis grai skriwi. Nia instu ulju a vorra was ek Jonathan. She koppe jen liorla ega tre assa cheer, as uljur en tachert. Kaljost au greb eg je, nishu laia ernen son heen as jenu brunes. As esh, trenium fagen shu, for die bishu fi angel, as nishu inch down na tashu smunyan je. Tammy cor gelden, door te gouds hook me de na peberen. Nim savora, chaleers fodem chit. Now this footnote continues, in fact apropos of nothing particularly said so far. During the fishery there is a penalty of £5 for every gull which is killed, these birds being supposed constantly to attend the herrings. Now, if that's true, that's a massive amount of money, since we're talking about 1791. And looking online at some estimates, I found some for 1800, which is obviously 9 years later than that time that Robertson is talking about. But in 1800, an English agricultural labourer's annual income by that year was about £12. And even the bailiff of an estate by that time would be getting no more than about £20 per year in wages, with a shepherd somewhere in between. Well, the island was noted as a less expensive place to live, so wages wouldn't have been as high as that, and these 1800 estimates from England would anyway have been affected by inflation compared with 9 years earlier, particularly with the war going on in Europe, so a potential fine of £5 in 1791, about half a year's wages for a labouring man, perhaps. That would have been something to be seriously concerned about. Well, Welsh singer Kate Timothy was a great fan, presumably of Duran Duran, particularly of Simon Le Bon. So when she started singing herself professionally, she took the name Kate, not Timothy, but Kate Le Bon. And here she sings, "Oh, am gariad, oh, what love."
Cymleth yw teimlad sy'n tanio ôl cyffyrddiad. Ymffri madridwy ala mwyn sy'n galw, tôn sy'n talu dirwy mythgariad i fel llanw. Sydd mor arfradlon, golau'r hael sydd arnom. God y fwa cymsaith sy'n syth y seith am halon i anela, ffrind god y gnad y weitha. Cariad o amgariad, cariad o amgariad, cariad o amgariad, cariad o amgariad.
CATE LE BON, originally Kate Timothy from Shir Gar, or Shir Gaerfyrddin. Caerfyrddin is the castle of Merlin, anglicised as Carmarthen in southwest Wales. So we're back to Merlin again, as we started with. Of course, we heard the birth of Merlin, but we were in Wales this time rather than in Brittany. Back to Robertson now. An admiral and vice-admiral are annually elected, to the former of whom government allows £5 and to the other £3 for the season. Their boats are distinguished by a small flag at the topmast, and their province is to conduct the fleet to the herring grounds. The boats sail with the evening and return with the morning tide. On leaving the harbour, each fisherman uncovers his head and appears for a few moments engaged in devotion. But this, I presume, is more a relic of customary superstition than an expression of real piety. Oh, ye of little faith. And of course Sophia Morrison collected a song associated with that, calling on Manningham first of all, but later on St. Patrick to bless the fishery. However, out we go, and under the cloud of night they shoot their nets, which are buoyed up by inflated bags of dogskin, dried in the sun and smeared over with tar. The herrings are caught by the gills, and in such abundance that parts of the nets must be frequently cut away. Higam le shilieriw as dunya sheshielm of his kidem. Be Jonathan and Shaw egleur lug nanjeg, as signed you chit the oil kerbel merin, as cor shiliers na treshen. Ver ked you guller tren tavi eg ker minid jeg as feed lug 3 a chlag. Ni cor les gus Paddington rosh hoch a chlag. Va yindesegge a fissa na train an aslau. A chanel fissegge der mi fedden mach mechon ulju na train an hugge as vai Exeter, de vodum les Jonathan me vistrisser. Me so gawi na peber an merish, as haie soel, as tammy me hai on shaw as smunnion. Smunnion nach creer gesemmes. Skriwen lauwen van Helsing gus Mina Harker, en chwegel le mijn vouwer shea a chlag. Wens Mina wien, tammy lai lior lai cho yindesach a dunje sheshe jou. Fuddish you cadle gindoot. Square gesatchemach mote, ach, sphire. Jim cor ons giaull me vjois As nish sjoden puttergiaull was man in heen. Woollley and Jo Callister. I would say bringing something of the spirit of Mrs. Mills to Manx music, but they're far too young to know what I'm talking about.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
Tashu Geisteach Rish, Tashu and Ashun, Radio Vanning, she Claare na Gael and Claare Shaw, Mer and Peen, Robert, Catine Carswell, Robert a Carslach, as Mavi Braiach Roshnish.
Did thee ever hear tell of old Bobby Bob?
Fuddy de beer na smeder son sly elia. A cher a hon, as Ernan Sonio, Chanel Alon, Tain a wunye wuzzle, as ligji dow inch dew, vai kiel chonich dania. Peir jinnach moren eschen ons gul schies a wall shen as gus a chamber shen, she as gul a nachiert. Na wel adi de bij jinte de been ljorish grain. Tan a inche negge as a chrie kaart de loer, shaw to mi brere rosh na wel mi eer a choshilier. Maar so gauji esh. Bi moren em de braiach chamach jon kushenelia. Tammy banich de wel mi chitle shilje eriu dew. An o de wel chwish na insige mulju eg an ontre, de wel mi dalach rish, dalach de smoon of amiriu. A sign thou smunion. Lewis, a fair smooth firniach, Abraham van Helsing. Skriwen ben Mina Harker gus van Helsing, en Weggoleis feed main power, Leoorlijk she PM. And Dr. van Helsing been, Milje buistius on the Skriwen kingeljow. Many of the boats return laden with 50 and some with 70 mazes, and a footnote says that a maze is 500 herring. But they counted in the long hundred, which is 124 herring, so a maze of 5 long hundreds would be 620. 50 maze would then be 31,000 herring, and 70 over 43,000 herring. This, while it continues, says Robertson, occasions a very rapid influx of money into the country, a successful night's fishing being frequently estimated at £3,000, and sometimes amounting to £5,000. Among the herrings are caught great quantities of dogfish, called by the Manx GOUILH, which prey upon the herrings, and from their strength and voracity prove very destructive to the nets. Well, in the traditional song Man in Beidh, there are some who come home without good news. Our netting has been eaten by the dogfish. However, says Robertson, they furnish the natives with oil, and when dried resemble ling, but are seldom used except by the poorest of the inhabitants. Now we heard the harp of Alan Stivell as young Alan COCHEVELOU at the start of the programme. Here is his harp again as he accompanies himself lamenting young Silvestrig being conscripted and going off to war.
Itre shabelik sante flam atos en menebre je se habitan yoank o sevelen armee daglas sudar yoank bepleg dria contre meme sermap silvestri Ruerin va mame silvestrig names mavne metan Bebe odio habiten anachan de dantan De dal kedar macha diweza de obreman De sudardal en arme oblige dine velletan A te la bousig beyond bad boys as he was ken
verdreist har vroeg de goud van Abigail. Ach, hoe en fugant onkel daar Bruzel, maar de ojaar vuur onda die gavel. Ik reis Alexander Flam, atos en menebre. Ze zich habiten jovank, o severen armee. Daglask, soedar der jovank, verpleeg 3 avondtree. Meme sermap Silvestri.
Alain Stivell and Silvestrig, the name of the young conscript, lamented by his family as he's sent off to war. I've already mentioned some of the superstitions of this country, continues David Robertson, but these are in general innocent fancies. An error of that nature, however, prevails during the fishery, which proves highly injurious to the interests of the island. Superstition, that foe to commerce, operating on the native indolence of the Manx, influences them to sacrifice at her shrine every Saturday and Sunday evening during the herring season, the fishermen being of the opinion that the sale of the fish caught on the one evening and the sailing of the boats on the other would equally profane the Sabbath. Did this regard to the Sabbath proceed from a just veneration of the awful injunction of him who is so profusely conferred on them the blessings of the sea, it would be pious and commendable. But it's more the offspring of fear than of gratitude to heaven. He's very dogmatic about his ideas, isn't he? I wonder to whom he actually spoke about it. Te angedden reirishim ne moer asmaagnia. Ach na jai, ma vis fire kreiner in aglach tonset. Ach na jai, ma vis fire kreiner in aglach tonset tail. As krein rid atjemach ma vis a dunje shen an wees de jare once lunning. Tammy GOUILH rosh smunjener. Kaartige trei shaw, gouds from me screw, hoor me chelgram by Jonathan, as ginst out the jinne for Gael a train quegminute as feed look sheerach like noch, by Lanson, as the beer on shaw hachminute jeg look jaierach like, ma saw gebial loch. Jinchu a fair shen on sinne GOUILH kerbel merin, chit masailt son angeel hach lag, maar a be shaw ro wacher and son. For die Gael me vis trisserio, lorish a train lieur lug jaierach lag, ni corleshugas Paddington, lorish quegminute jegas feed lug giserach lag. Na jinchu co freget the sauce, son nim tiggle, man vel me clash and vow, the jinchu chit son angeel. Now visitors to Unchruniach next month will be Scottish singer KARINE POLWART and composer and improviser on keyboard Dave Milligan. Here they perform a poem by Richard Fariña called The Quiet Joys of Brotherhood, which Sandy Denny paired with the tune of My Lagan Love.
As gentle tides go rolling by along the salt sea strand, the colors blend and roll as one, together in the sand, and often send their distant chorus the blended flower. Still have my heart in thrall, the quiet joys of brotherhood, and love is Lord of all. But man has come to plough the tide. The oak lies on the ground. I hear their fires in the fields. They drive the stallion down. The roses bleed, both light and dark. The winds do seldom call. The running songs recall the time when love was Lord of all.
Karine Polwart and Dave Milligan, and they'll be performing at the Centenary Centre in Peel for Chroniac on Thursday the 27th of July. Cred siw dy felmin yn gar y ffyrniach as bwysl Mina Harker. Lior le Jonathan Harker and Gael le as feed main fawr. Smunny mi nach gin amarach sgriw sy gi le yn sio rish ach tan tre'r jit. Tre renk mi tai raer va shiver gin derluwek Mina, as tre was yn ni dinsi dawmychion Kiert ban Helsing, as dra wish a chor de cob gint jen de gi len, as mychion choimneach as vi mychion. And so this superstition, it arises, he said, from a tradition that on a Sunday evening of the last century, when the boats were fishing, a tremendous gale accompanied with thunder and lightning arose, which destroyed a great part of the fleet, while several of the boats which had fled for refuge to a neighbouring cove were crushed to pieces by the fall of the impending precipice. Very dramatic. Ach Siananish, Alex Brindley is hovering in the wings this evening, ready to bring you 2 hours of the best music for your Sunday chill out from 7 to 9, and at 9 Judith Lay will be here with Sundown. We're closing Claare Gael with music by Cornish hammered dulcimer player Carenza. Her new album, Caoidh, is available as a Bandcamp download now, and the CD itself is due for dispatch, well, this coming Tuesday in fact. And then the following week it'll be the Manannan Festival, so look out for concerts featuring the piece Criach, celebrating women who've contributed to the culture of the island in different ways, which Isla Collister composed as a commission for Culture Vanning, with special illustrations by Professor Joe Davis of Ramsey. Also in the Manannan Festival, you can book for a concert of traditional Scottish music with the Rant Fiddle Quartet. So that's not this week, but next week, but you can book your tickets now. Ach, Mother Migrae Shene, and so on to the next time. This is Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Oh, Bobby Bob.
Wishing you a very good night. Eve I'm a creario as Orserlier, as my yeary and shed you will you.